lasting peace and bliss, happiness of greatest order and permanent peace is the reality of man, the essential nature of the life. The very essential nature of life is peace and bliss. On the surface of life, confusion, chaos, distraction seem to be predominating. Therefore, the need of spiritual unfoldment, the need of bringing that hidden peace and happiness to the field of all activity and all experience in life. Life has two aspects, one the outer gross aspect and the inner subtle aspect. The nature of the inner subtle aspect of life is peace and bliss. That has to be brought out and lived in the field of the outer gross. As in the flower, the honey is hidden behind the skin. The beauty of the petal is obvious beauty of the flower. If the sweetness of hidden honey could be brought on the surface of the petal, then the petal will be much more valuable. If the hidden peace and happiness is brought to the surface of life, life will be much more valuable. Even on the surface, as it is present, as at present, in order to get the honey in the flower, one has to go deep to that realm where the honey lies. The honey bee, the bee knows the technique of getting to the subtle strata of flowers and tastes the honey. But honey is not tasted on the surface of the petal. If there could be a way to bring the hidden honey on the surface of the petal, then anybody would be able to enjoy the outer beauty of the flower and honey at the same time. That is it. Spiritual unfoldment is the process of bringing the hidden divine nature of man to the different aspects of human activity. Spiritual unfoldment. Here, by the word spiritual, we don't mean anything pertaining to the spirit world, to the departed soul. No. Spiritual unfoldment amounts to the unfoldment of the divine nature in man. The essential nature of the spirit, the soul, unfoldment of the qualities of the soul, unfoldment of the hidden peace and bliss. And this is easy for everyone. Spiritual unfoldment in life has been emphasized for all the ages past. I am out with a simple technique of spiritual unfoldment. A simple process of withdrawal, a simple technique of meditation which draws the mind inward, leads it to the realm of bliss within, so that the mind completely merges in bliss, completely becomes it, completely inherits that quality, and being it, it comes on the surface of life, comes in the field of action and behavior, and enjoys it. As if a businessman in the market is out in the market, whatever he has is invested, and now he doesn't have anything. He retires back to his treasury, gets into the treasury, and then brings out the wealth, and again comes out in the market with bold figures, with bold face, with all confidence. So also, behaving in the outer world, experiencing different things, and then all different types of behavior, different types of adjustments in life tend to challenge the natural peace within. When the peace is challenged, then just we retire to the chamber of peace and then inherit peace more and bring that out in the field of all confusion. So that the field of confusion ceases to be a field of confusion, peace pervades. Spiritual unfoldment is mainly to bring out the hidden treasures of our own personality in order that the field of action, the field of thought, the field of speech, the field of behavior and all relationships everywhere may be congenial, harmonious, peaceful, happy. This is the purpose of spiritual unfoldment. It amounts to integration of life. Otherwise, life is incomplete. Our life constitutes the gross material world, subtler mental spheres of all powers. Subtlest aspect of our being is the realm of the soul, the transcendent reality, which in its essential nature is absolute bliss consciousness. Absolute bliss consciousness, that is transcendental reality of our being. The nature of that is hidden behind the scheme. The nature of multiplicity, which amounts to varieties, which leads to confusion, is the obvious life. So that hidden glory of life is to be brought up, and that is brought up by first leading the mind to the chamber of peace and bliss, the realm of the soul, then bringing the mind out with that inherited quality of that. So here is a simple process of meditation. The process of meditation which withdraws the attention inwards leads the mind to the realm of bliss, so that the bliss may be infused in the nature of the mind, and that mind infused in bliss comes out to experience that in the field of all diversity and behavior. All relationships become harmonious. Field of all activity becomes more strong, more powerful, and much more is attained in life than otherwise with that peace of mind, with that strong thought force and happy mood. Spiritual unfoldment is necessary not only for liberation, but also for making the day-to-day life better, the day-to-day life to be made better. Because the whole field of action is just the play of mind. If the mind is strong and concentrated, active and bright, the world will be better lived, better enjoyed. Spiritual unfoldment is the basis of all unfoldment of the mental powers. The whole psychic field, the whole ocean of mind, which is the reservoir of all the powers in nature, is just out of sight because we don't fathom it. When through meditation we withdraw the mind, as if we take a dive into the ocean of mind, take a dive and go from the surface to the bottom of the ocean of mind, thereby stirring and making active all the levels of the ocean of mind, thereby bringing all the latent faculties on the surface of the mind to be experienced in all fields of life. So when we aim at the unfoldment of the soul quality, when we aim at unfolding the blissful nature of the soul, the same process unfolds all the latent planes of the ocean of mind, all the powers of mind are unfolded. And with that great, strong, powerful mind, enjoy the world along with the bliss of the spirit, with the bliss of the soul. This is the value of unfoldment of the soul, spiritual unfoldment or self-realization. It amounts to making the material life better by the light of the inner self. There are two aspects of spiritual unfoldment, two aspects of this part of spiritual unfoldment. One way is withdrawing from the outer gross field of experience, withdrawing to the chamber of the self, withdrawing within. Second mark is bringing that nature of the soul out to be lived in the world. First way is to go to the field of the divine. Second is bring the divine to the world. And when we bring the divine to the world, then the world becomes divine. This is the purpose of spiritual unfoldment, and that we accomplish by this technique of meditation. That technique which draws the attention inwards till all the subconscious levels are passed through and the blissful realm of the spirit is reached. The kingdom of heaven attains liberation or Jivan Mukti according to Shankara. Nibbana according to Buddha is attained, and attaining that amounts to fulfillment of life. Attaining that fulfillment of life, the mind is brought out with the quality of that, and then the whole life becomes blissful. Now, spiritual unfoldment has been talked about in terms of great strenuous practices. Many a times in terms of negation of the obvious pleasures of life. They have been speaking that control of mind is very difficult. It's very difficult to draw the mind inward. All these things are incorrect. I hold everybody has the capacity of withdrawing the mind inward, and everyone is capable of unfolding the nature of his own self, because it is the nature of his own self and it is blissful in its nature. Therefore, it's easy. Everyone finds it easy, only it needs just preliminary instructions to dive within and come out happier. Thereby, all the subconscious levels are brought up, all the latent faculties develop, and all in one stroke. It will be difficult for a man to acquire the psychic powers if they are tried one by one. But to strive for mastery of the whole is easy. To strive for the mastery of all the psychic powers at one stroke, it is simple, because the source of all psychic powers, the transcendental reality, is blissful. None of the psychic powers is blissful in its nature. Mind wants to attain this psychic power, that psychic power, out of the fact that they will be able to do something. Something would be attained which ordinarily is not possible to be attained. This is the fascinating point, this aspect. But in their nature, psychic powers are not charming. In their nature, to be charmed in the psychic power is implied. If I have that power, I will be able to do this thing. If I have that power, I will be able to do this thing. But in the nature of their nature, no psychic power is blissful. And because they are not blissful, they don't attract the mind in a natural way. You have to force the mind to acquire them, train the mind, long time training, disciplining the mind. And because they are not blissful in their nature, mind goes on resenting and resenting. And that's why each psychic power takes a long time to be attained. Here, the source of all psychic power is the divine nature, the transcendental reality, which is blissful in its nature. Because it is blissful, it attracts the mind in the most natural way. Everybody's mind is fascinated to go to a point which attracts out of its blissful nature. Something charming and the mind is attracted to it. Something not charming and the mind doesn't want it, obviously. So because the nature of the divine within, the nature of the kingdom of heaven within is attractive, is charming, is obviously fascinating, so naturally it attracts the mind. It becomes easy, it becomes spontaneous to go to that. And it becomes difficult to go to some psychic powers. That's right. The realization of one psychic power may take a long time, but to gain the mastery of all the field of psychic powers, it becomes spontaneous. This is the difference in the past. Meditation is a process of leading the mind directly from the present stand of mind to the unknown divine field within. And between these two lies the whole field of psychic powers. From the gross nature to the subtle nature to the transcendent. The field of subtle nature is the field of all psychic powers. When you get on to the transcendental reality, it amounts to capturing the fort in whose territory lie all these psychic powers. So to get onto the fort, to capture the fort, to own the fort, to become the master of the fort is easier because the nature of the fort is blissful. And then the mind straightway gets onto that. Having gained the mastery of it, then you are the master of the whole psychic field. All the powers in nature are yours. Therefore, spiritual unfoldment amounts to the unfoldment of all psychic powers. It amounts to glorification of all aspects of human life, whether it is material or whether it is mental. This means, spiritual unfoldment means watering at the root of life. When we water at the root of a tree, all the leaves and fruits and all the branches become green and becomes worthwhile, become life, full of life. Otherwise, if the root is not watered, watering the leaf, no, it doesn't. Trying to gain peace by adjustments of relationships, by adjustments of this and this and this and this in life, it amounts to only watering the leaf, which will directly eliminate the dust from the leaf, but will fail to provide the greenness from within. If the greenness is to be provided in each leaf, the root has to be watered. If the life has to be made full of life, full of living cactus, full of living qualities, then the soul has to be unfolded. Spiritual unfoldment has to be worked out. And once the mind gets on to the bliss, the mind becomes blissful, contented, full of power, full with clarity. Then all aspects of life become. Now, this has been talked of in terms of great, strenuous, difficult practices, but spiritual regeneration movement offers a direct approach to it. That's why the necessity of this movement. If I were also to emphasize upon the difficulty of spiritual unfoldment, then I would not have come out of the Himalayas. There are already innumerable agencies declaring that it is difficult, it is difficult, it is difficult. And this declaration of spiritual unfoldment being difficult has defeated the very purpose of life. The people are scared at spiritual unfoldment. They feel as if, something, don't go for it. Because they feel those who go for spiritual unfoldment and for spiritual practices, they are found to be negating so many aspects of life. Many a time they feel, they don't feel like enjoying life. Others see, oh, don't go for spiritual development or anything like that, meditation or this self-realization, otherwise you will also become like him. This has created a fear for spirituality. Just a fear in the society for spiritual unfoldment. No. The voice of spiritual regeneration movement is that spiritual unfoldment is simple, easy. It needs only getting some instructions and having it right away, and thereby glorifying all aspects of life, material, mental, and spiritual. And without that, no amount of strenuous practices to be better in life will result in success. We go on watering the leaf, how long it will begin to show, how long it can maintain greenness if the root is not watered. Without the practice of spiritual unfoldment, life is becoming hard, and then so much that it has been defined as a struggle. They say life is a struggle. It's a wrong definition of life. Only a misguided mind has defined life is a struggle. Essentially, life is a bliss. But because not knowing the technique of living, not knowing the technique of performing any action, every action becomes a struggle. Having lost the technique of life, technique of living, life becomes a struggle. And so much so that in the Western world, people think that strife and struggle is natural with man. Peace is far-fetched, and peace is an impossibility. They have to have all this struggle, otherwise there is no life. It's a wrong conception, very wrong standard of life, a very misguided way of living. Simple technique of living is communicate to the divine nature within every morning and evening for a few minutes, and then it becomes like an armor for a soldier. Before going to the war, he puts on an armor, and then he feels secure. Just dive within in the morning, and then the mind is full with energy, peace and happiness. That energetic peace, a peaceful and happy mind does all very well, acquires much more, attains many much more things, and maintains life, is not lost for values of life. If you are not able to switch on to the divine nature within in the morning, then when you go through the day's work and this tensions begin to come in the mind, and the mind becomes miserable by the evening. So this system of meditation is only a direct way to spiritual unfoldment, which amounts to glorification of all aspects of life. Simple. And it is the basis of all development in life. Spiritual unfoldment is the basis of all development in life. It's the very root of all glorification of life. Without that, life is a loss, life is a struggle, and life is always insecure, always insecure. Many people think that they are worried and they are not in peace and happiness because of circumstances. They have this thing to do, they have this thing to acquire, and this man is so wrong with him, this man is so wrong with him. Because they cannot reconcile between the opposites of life. They think as long as the circumstances remain like that, it's not possible for them to be in peace and happiness. But it's a wrong notion. Even if the circumstances are the same, the man will become happy. A poor man will become happy in poverty. A rich man will become happy in the midst of his wealth. This is the technique of making the man happy under all circumstances, because the very source of happiness is kept within. I think we'll leave some time for questions and answers. This was just as an introduction. We'll have some questions and answers or doubts or any points to be cleared pertaining to spiritual development or allied subjects. Beg your pardon? Some specific aspects of meditation. I am talking of a particular way, particular system of meditation which I am out to propagate. Specific way of meditation. Meditation is just the manner of applying the mind. We apply the mind in this manner and apply the mind in this manner, and we apply the mind in such a manner that it goes through all the subconscious levels and gets onto the transcendental divine nature directly. It doesn't need long training and long time to acquire that. Readily it goes to that within a few sittings of meditation. When I speak of meditation, I don't speak of meditation in general. I speak of my system of meditation, on the basis of which I have started a worldwide spiritual regeneration movement. The purpose is to infuse this system of meditation in the daily routine of everybody, so that everyone may unfold the nature of the spirit, nature of the self within, and become happy in life. Spiritual regeneration of the whole world is aimed on the basis of this simple system of meditation, which directly leads the mind inward and makes the mind happy, free from all tensions and miseries and misfortunes of life. It has a great harmonizing capacity. Inner mind is harmonized, outer circumstances also are harmonized. We must feel very, very homely in asking questions. No reservations should be made, because this is just the time for clearing all the doubts about all this. Teaching the system of meditation is not done in the classes. I take each individual, because I find every man is different, and the guidance mainly goes through the personal experience. When I start, and ask him, repeat this word, do meditate in this manner, and he meditates for some time. And then I ask him, what are the experiences in this? On the basis of his experiences, I guide him further. When you experience this, then you do this, then you do this, then you leave this, then you catch this. So the guidance goes according to the experiences, individual experiences. If 10 people start meditation, the experiences will be different. Experiences of one or two may tally, but they generally differ. If they amongst themselves begin to talk about the experience in this, they may confuse themselves. Nobody would know what is right and what is wrong. They might confuse. That's why all this is a personal affair. I ask them to meditate morning and evening at home and then meet me the next day. Then I scrutinize the experiences, tell them what it is, explain them. In view of that explanation, they practice again morning and evening and meet me the next day. Then again their experiences are scrutinized and checked. They are told what to do. Like that 2, 3, 4 times, they get their experiences checked and they find that they are able to get on to that realm of bliss. In the beginning, the reality is only touch. Coming there, come out. Going there and coming out. Because mind has been long time in the field of the gross, concrete object. That is the field of the transcendence where there is no objectivity. It's the field of the abstract, it's called abstract. So mind touches it and comes out. But touching it, it experiences some attraction, some happiness. So goes back again and again comes out, goes back again. Like that it happens. And different experiences indicate whether the mind is going straight or taking a route this way or that way. So that's why it is always individual and always confidential. Each man has to be guided separately. It can't be, it can never be a thing of the class. Class like this is just for the sake of exchanging the ideas, understanding the theory about it, knowing intellectually what it is and what it could be and all these things. That is having an intellectual understanding of the practice. But the practice will be given to each individual separately. Each man is different in the status of his spiritual unfoldment. Some have been practicing quite a long, different systems, and they are somewhere in some place. From there they are lifted up. Each individual, that's why each individual is. Huh? Maybe if the circumstances were very favorable and congenial for the practice, and he was practicing like that and was finding himself elevated, and when he has no chance of practice, he might come down to his own previous level. But having once attained the height, peak, it's not possible to then come down. Having once attained the peak, it's not possible to get down. And from the way is always coming up and going down and coming up and going down. group meditation has its values. If the majority of the people have good practice of meditation, then their going deep in meditation will create the atmosphere of going deep for others also. This is the advantage. And if the majority is of those people who are much worried and mind distracted and this, so their majority will influence those who go deep, want to go deep. It has both advantages and disadvantages. It creates good vibrations of meditation on the whole, because even distracted people try to meditate and try to go to, some vibrations are created congenial for meditation. And if there are many people who have the practice of going deep in meditation, then other beginners will be helped. And if it's the majority of the beginners, then it might distract other people also. Actually, deep meditation deep meditation needs loneliness. Deep meditation needs loneliness. Sometimes group discussion is all right, and group meditation is all right. Every day meditating lonely, sometimes once a week, twice a week, getting together and meditate. But always group discussion, group meditation, it will not bring good results. Because meditation is an individual thing, and when it is brought to collective scale, it doesn't. But I have heard of some systems here and there, which gather together and then they begin to roll and move and sing and dance and fall down and stand and or sit or this. All that doesn't seem to be anything other than some influence of some spirit, some outside influence. And then, because obviously when the mind goes deep within, why should a man fall down or this and this? It seems to be the outside influence, an influence of some outer spirit. Otherwise, as the man goes deep in meditation, it goes in silence and more serenity and silence. That increases. There are more disadvantages than advantages in group meditation if deep meditation is aimed. If deep meditation is aimed, group meditation has more disadvantages than advantages. But it's good for some time. For some time, some minutes.
Maharishi, which would be the best areas in the morning to do meditation? Full wakeups or just wake up?
I recommend meditation after good rest. After good rest. Whatever time a man gets good rest, that time the mind is alert and active and not dull. Because if you get up early, 1 hour early you get up, then there is some dullness, and dull mind will not appreciate finer fields of the medium. Because the process of meditation becomes fascinating if the medium is reduced to the subtle stages. And when it is reduced to subtle stages, it is found to be more charming. A dull mind will fail to appreciate the subtle stages. In order to appreciate the subtle stages, mind has to be sharp, alert, more active. So if the rest is not full, if the body is not fully rested, then the mind will be dull, and dull mind will fail to appreciate the subtle stages. It will not appreciate any charm. It will not go deep in the absence of charm. So it will remain hovering in thoughts, sometimes medium. It won't be any successful meditation. So the best time for meditation will be after full rest in the morning.
You mean after breakfast or just after one waking up in the morning?
If after getting up in the morning one feels hungry, then also mind will be dull. And after breakfast, if he feels heavily loaded, experience in the transcendent field, then we begin to experience it even in the field of multiplicity. Eyes. When we begin to appreciate water in the closed inner chambers of ice, having known it thoroughly well, we begin to see ice as water and nothing but water. Although experiencing ice, we experience it as water. But for the first time experience of water, we have to enter into the subtle stages of ice so that the form of ice may be eliminated and the essential nature of that which constitutes the form may be appreciated. That's why to be able to appreciate that omnipresent reality everywhere, through all this form, in all this form, through all this activity, when we have to experience that eternal silence within, the first thing is retire from the field of activity, get all tiresomeness of the day and we make you fresh and all that. But immediately after coming from work, meditation will not be successful because the body will be too much tired, and when the body is tired, the mind will be dull. So, to be very successful in meditation, we need just a comfortable, regulated life. However fast you move about during the day, it doesn't matter. But just a little rest after the day's work and meditation and everything. Whatever may be the worries in the mind, the worries will not obstruct deep meditation. They cannot obstruct. But the tired condition of the body will make the mind dull, and dull mind will not allow deep meditation. However worried a man may be, within 5, 10, 15 minutes of meditation, he doesn't find the worries. He is heard to say, I don't bother. And he doesn't remember how worried he used to be. Just he doesn't remember. It immediately relieves all mental worries. The best time for meditation is when the mind is not dull, when the body is rested. Whatever is the hour of the day, we don't mind. Whatever is the hour of the day, according to different routines for the people, different may be the hours, but that will not hinder. That is an ideal state, to sit in the same place at the same time, if possible with the same dress. That is the ideal. But we don't worry for the ideal, because even if we change our seat from here to there, if the radio is charming, we'll enjoy it wherever we are sitting. If today we sit here and meditate, because it is bliss within, we'll enjoy it there. Tomorrow we sit there and then we enjoy it. Same place and same time and same clothes and same everything. All these things have their values, but they are not so invaluable, and that without that it can't be. It's all nothing. So we have to enjoy. Instead of enjoying the flower and the beauty of the flower outside, we want to enjoy the bliss within, and then close the eyes and go and enjoy. Wherever you sit, this way or that way, whether folded feet or just on the chair, what does it mean? It's only a mental process, and just sit comfortably and go within and enjoy. Mantras are selected with a view that the medium may give some values in life other than experiencing the bliss. Meditation can be done on any medium, and any medium will take the mind to bliss. We take a special mantra because the vibrations of the mantras have their values in the material field. In the vibrations we find pertaining to the vibrations we find two ways of life of man. The way of life of a recluse, a man who has renounced. A man who has renounced from the activities of the world doesn't want anything of the world. He doesn't want to entertain anybody. He doesn't want any activity. He doesn't want anything of the world. He wants to be away from the world, and if anything of the world goes to him, he would want that thing to be destroyed, so that his solitary life may not be disturbed. He may be completely left in seclusion and then go within, not do whatever he likes. But he doesn't want to entertain anything of the world. Everything of the world is dead for him. He aims at destroying anything that might affect him. So, his life is just antagonistic to the life of a householder. The householder's life needs everything. All gain, all accumulation, all power, all knowledge, everything is needed in the life of a householder. All field of action, all relationships, everything should be harmonious and everything should be gained. These two kinds of effects in life are found on the basis of two kinds of vibrations of the mantras. Mantras are texts which produce good, congenial, favorable effects, harmonious effects in life, in every phase. These mantras suit the householder's way of life. There are mantras which have destructive values in the field of creation. They would destroy. They would not let anything come to him. Everything will be a loss, destruction, value of the vibration. Because we know every word that we speak has its vibrations, and when we speak something, the vibrations go to strike against everything. They go to the end of the universe. And when they go to the end of the universe, they strike against everything, and striking against everything, they can create either good effect or bad effect. The effect to supplement the life of the petal, or the effect to destroy, to damage the life of the petal. Either the effect will be for the petal or against the petal. These are the two types of effects. The mantras suited to the life of a householder have the effect of producing life, supplying life, creating harmony, creating all good everywhere. This is the efficacy of the mantra suitable for a householder. And when we take that mantra, on the mantra, the mind goes and the mantra is reduced in its status. It is reduced in its status. And the mind experiences the reduced status of the mantra. Goes on reducing and till the mind has experienced the subtle state of the mantra and transcended. As the mantra is being reduced, the value of the mantra becomes more and more. Because as we go to the subtle fields of nature, the value, the power increases. If we hit this to somebody, it will hurt. But if we could excite the atom, if we go to the subtle field of it, then it will bombard the world. The power is greater in the subtle field of creation. This is the value of the system of meditation, which reduces the status of the mantra till it is reduced to nil, throwing the mind to the field of the transcendental. The value of the mantra is to produce congenial good atmosphere for the life of a household. This is the value, specific values of the mantra, and that's why for our medium of meditation, we select these specific mantras which have values over and above the spiritual unfoldment. What is it? Yes, yes. Because it has vibrations. It has vibrations. Vibrations which go to produce some effect in the outside atmosphere. If we take some light or some color, if we take some color or some light, the mind will be charmed when it increases in brilliancy. So only the mind will be affected. The outside environment, the outside atmosphere will not be affected. But if we take a sound, then the sound is made subtler and subtler. Every sound produces vibration, and it affects the outside atmosphere also. That is the value of the mantra, that it has effect on the outside surrounding also. Other mediums of light or color or any figure or something savory or some smell or some taste, that will not produce any effect in the outside atmosphere. That will have an influence on the mind, that will lead the mind to bliss, there is no doubt about it. But leading the mind to bliss It will be only one action of unfolding this spiritual glory within, but will not affect the outside atmosphere. Here, by virtue of the mantras, the differences in the family life, the differences in the circle of a friend, the behavior in the midst of the customers, all the relationships, naturally they become more glorified, much more harmonious in the natural way. People who have gone trailed from you, just away from you, and don't feel for you, naturally they become affectionate and more close and more harmonious, natural. This is the additional value of the mantras, and when we spend some time for something, we do aim at gaining maximum advantage. So when we have a medium for meditation, why not have a medium which will yield much greater effect than others? What is said? Power of the word is just the... But in the power of the word, there are two types of power of a word. One is pertaining to the meaning of it, and the other is pertaining to the vibrations of it. Vibration. The power of vibration is just that. Even if we don't know the meaning of it, the vibrations will have that effect. Here you get the meaning. And the effect in such cases, the effect of mantras is mainly on the basis of the vibration, irrespective of the meaning. If we know the meaning, it may amount to self-hypnosis. Meaning. We take a word, bliss and bliss and bliss, or I am bliss and I am bliss, or I am going to bliss and I am going to bliss. Now the meaning is implied. The meaning can do one harm, that even if we have not transcended into the realm of bliss, even then, the emotional aspects may be aroused to such a degree that even when we are not in the realm of bliss, we begin to feel bliss. This is self-hypnosis. And that. And you begin to feel as if you are that. Actually, that state of being has not ceased, but the intellect is completely blocked off. The emotions are excited to such a great degree that you will feel that we are living that idea. That is what we call self-hypnosis. When we are not actually in that state, yet we begin to feel, we are in that state. That we don't aim at. That's why we don't go through the meaning of the prayer. Other types of prayer are just the repetitions of a particular sense which has a specific meaning, and in that meaning we flow ourselves and feel that we open ourselves to God. But that meaning has the advantage of inviting Godhood, and that meaning has the disadvantage of throwing ourselves in the idea of Godhood without actually attainment of the Godhood. Both things. When we aim at invoking God, we should aim at transcending the field of creation, and that is the field of the creator. We should aim at transcending the limits of either sound or form or taste or smell, any object of any sense. We should aim at going to the field beyond the sense perception, the transcendental field, to the field of reality, away from the whole field of creation to the field of the Creator. And that will be real communication with the divine. And when we, somewhere remaining in the middle of the creation, we begin to think of God and think of God and think of God and think. Thinking about the God and different aspects of God and filling our emotion to such a great extent that completely the intellect is completely dropped off and we begin to feel in closeness with the divine. That is self-hypnosis, that is not real spiritual unfoldment. It throws us to feel that we are in the realm of God. And the fact is that we are only enveloped by the idea of Godhood. That's why this system of meditation that I am propagating aims at throwing the individual mind to the cosmic reality, where the individual mind becomes it. And then it enjoys to the great extent the idea of Godhood, because it is there in the realm of the divine. This great difference in this system of prayer and other systems of prayer which try to envelop the mind with the idea of God or divine. Here we become it. This is why we take the mantras and in our practical life we are concerned with the result. As long as the result is coming, okay. Yes. Basically the system remains the same, and basically the system remains the same in the start, and it goes ahead as the man experiences. Basically the karma mixture will be the same. There may be some changes here and there according to the and that the doctor knows after giving 2-3 doses of it and seeing the results, how it is reacting on the particular system. Basically, it remains the same. Yes, 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 yes. Because when the mind goes to that realm, it becomes it. Completely blissful. Now that's a state which knows no duality, no confusion, nothing. It's a state of oneness. Pure bliss. Coming out when it comes. Because that was the state of the transcendence. And here is the state of all concrete material objectivity. That is not retained to that great degree by the mind. But the mind retains some of it. When it retains some of it, with the practice it begins to retain more and more of it. With the practice it retains more and more of it. Someday it begins to retain it in 10%, in 100%. And when fullness of that bliss is retained even in the field of gross active life, then it is fullness of life. That will be the state where mind will not be tortured by any of the experiences in the world. Everything will go smooth and nothing will bother. That will be the state of complete freedom, where nothing fails to torture. Even much before the state of perfection, the mind becomes more composed, more confident, more self-reliant, more full of vigor, energy, peace, happiness. With all these qualities naturally retained in the mind, mind behaves much better. Oh, yes, yes. The results of meditation speak in everyday life. Everyday life. Relationships, atmosphere, behavior, this and this and this. One experiences that life is becoming brighter and better. Not only he, others tell him, oh, you are changed and what happened to you and this. then it's no meditation. Then there is nothing. If we are not reaching near the goal, then we are not tracking the path. We are not doing any meditation if we are. The increased values in life alone ensure correctness of life. And that's why the checking is necessary. How do you feel now? How the relationship with others and how do you feel? This checking includes all this inquiry into the change that the individual feels or his atmosphere feels. Both ways it is checked. Experiences during meditation and experiences during activity in life when you are not meditating. From both we know that the process is rightly taken or not. That's why it is taken. No, not necessary to give up that word. If that word says its worth, Because every work will need the engagement of body and engagement of mind. In this respect, every work is a distraction. So when some work has to be taken, any work could be taken if it pays its worth. If it's worthwhile, because the work is for money. And if that work is bringing money better than other places, then on the value of money we take that work. No distraction during the work will be able to be a hindrance in meditation in the evening. No. If you feel tired, you come and take some rest, 15-20 minutes, half an hour, and then we meditate. Whatever have been the distractions during the daytime, during work, nothing would hamper the spiritual progress. Nothing can stop meditation or anything like that. Whatever is our way of life, whatever is what includes all. Whatever is the way of life, a few minutes morning and evening to be taken out for meditation, and the whole life will be brighter. It has to be brighter. Whatever is the way of life, the betterment is guaranteed. That is all. When we see everywhere ice, solidified water, we are seeing ice and hardness of ice and all the qualities of ice are being experienced. We have to be told that this ice is nothing but fluid water. It has different qualities than the obviously experience qualities. Although ice is nothing but water, but as long as we are in the field of experiencing ice, the qualities of water have to be told, although ice is nothing but water. As long as we are in the field of experiencing these different objects, manifested reality, so long it is necessary to be told that all this is nothing but abstract bliss, and that you are, and that I am, and that all it is. Because we have begun to experience the reality in its manifested state. Because we have to begin to experience water in the form of ice, therefore it has to be told that ice is nothing but water, and then told theoretically, and then everybody has to let to the subtle state of ice where quality of water will be found. You get to the subtle state of ice and the water is there, and you experience that water is fluid and water has these qualities different from ice. That's why it is necessary to tell that the subtle aspect of it, the unmanifested aspect of this battle is bliss, and it is necessary to show the way how to get to that transcendental state of this battle. You take this battle and do it and let the mind go to the subtle stages, and let the mind transcend and lead it and experience it and know that this is that. But this is only the manifested aspect of that unmanifested. In the manifested state, it is different than it is in the unmanifested state. In the manifested state, it is bliss. In the manifested state, it is status. In the frozen state, it is ice. In the unfrozen state, it is water. Unmanifested state, bliss. Manifested state, this yellow, this white, this and this and this. Because we are all the time in the field of sense experience, so we are all the time in the field of the manifested world, manifested reality. That's why we have to be told theoretically, and we have to be told a path to know the nature of the unmanifested. Otherwise, the nature, because all this is reality, it should be natural for us to appreciate that and experience this. It should be natural. When we see this watch, it should be natural for us to be able to evaluate the quality of gold. This is gold, and we are seeing the gold. Even when we are seeing the form of the watch, we are seeing the gold. Now here is the flaw. The flaw is that although we are seeing the gold, but we are so enamored by the form of it that we fail to see the gold. So enamored by the form of it that the gold, although it is obvious, yet it seems to be out of sight. The form is nothing but gold, yet the quality of gold is not appreciated, and only the form of it, the design of it is appreciated. The tattoo is nothing but the unmanifested bliss, but the unmanifested aspect of it, although it is nothing but, because unmanifested aspect of it is pervading it. This tattoo is nothing but that. But the form of it, the obvious manifested aspect of it has become so prominent that we fail to appreciate that of which this is made. It should be obvious that the gold is obvious. Seeing it, we are not able to see it. Seeing the lump of ice, we fail to appreciate the water in it, although ice is nothing but water. Although this is that unmanifest bliss, but we are so enamored by the form of it, by the design of it, that the essential constituent has gone out of experience. That's it. And this is only ignorance. Just ignorance. The expert vision of a goldsmith sees the form and evaluates the gold at the same time. The expert vision of a goldsmith sees the form, sees the design, enjoys the design, and evaluates the gold at the same time. Because both are there. One is not different from the other. One is pervading the other. The design is pervading the gold, and gold is pervading the design, and they are just the same thing. They are not two different identities. But a layman who has been so hypnotized as if by the obvious design that it fails to appreciate the essential constituent of the design, fails to appreciate that of which the gold is made, of which the form is made. That's why the uncultured vision has to be cultured. He has to be told that the form that you are enjoying, just look here, this is the form, and the form is of the gold, and here is the gold, and 16 karat gold or 14 karat gold. It's a big, a sort of big self-hypnosis, a big mass hypnosis. The reality is not appreciated, and that which is just a superimposed temporary phase of it is being experienced. The ice is nothing but a superimposition. The form of ice is nothing but a superimposition on formless water. Solidity of ice is nothing but a superimposed fluidity of water. Opacity of ice is nothing but superimposed transparency of water. One quality is superimposed on the other, and the bliss somewhere becomes yellow, somewhere becomes black, somewhere this and somewhere this. The same, depending upon the degree of manifestation. In the pure unmanifested state, it is pure, absolute bliss consciousness. That absolute bliss consciousness, unmanifest, begins to be manifested in different degrees and gives rise to different qualities and different forms and different experiences. Our whole field of diversity is nothing but that unity experience, and because our senses are so made as to be able to appreciate only the gross aspect of objectivity, therefore obviously they fail to appreciate the subtle aspect, the transcendental aspect. Otherwise, it should have been the natural experience, it should have been the first experience, and it should have been the continued, sustained experience of life. And when we begin to appreciate that in the transcendental field, during meditation when we begin to retire from the gross field and go to the transcendental, or either after breakfast or before breakfast, the one condition is that the body should feel rested, neither hungry, not too much loaded, just comfortable, fully rested, and the mind will be most alert. If some people feel immediately after getting up to eat something, they should eat something and then become fresh and then meditate. If one doesn't care for breakfast soon after getting up, doesn't matter, just after getting up with little wash and then sit in meditation, mind will be very fresh. So also in the evening, when you come out after heavy and tiring duty of the day and feel tired, it's not the good time for meditation. Just stretch yourself, take a nap for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, just lie down and rest. After a little rest, meditate. Then, having known it, when we come out, we begin to live it in the field of activity also. Having known it, we begin to live it in the field of activity. All that silence is being lived in the activity. All that bliss and happiness begins to be lived in the field of all confusion and in the field of all absurdities of the gross material life. In order to first experience it, it is necessary to retire from here and go there, and then we bring that nature out. And we begin to, the purpose is to begin to live it in the field of all activity. But it is necessary to go in, and to go in it is necessary to take some guidance from somebody, go this way and that way. Go to the bottom of the sea and gather the pearls and bring the pearls out. But to get the pearls out, we have to go in and then come out, bring it out. That's why the system of spelling and the system of teaching and learning and this and this. Otherwise, it's natural for everybody. It should be natural. When the master sometimes putting the specs on the eyes, having the specs on the eyes, we begin to see where are the specks, where are the specks. When the specks of the eyes are being searched, then somebody has to say, here you are and you have them. That's all. And then you feel, oh, specks gained. But the reality is, it was already there, it was not lost, but the sense of losing it is gone, that's all. That's why somebody has to say, oh, here you are. What do you say? Huh?
In what proportion, how do you sense the reality sometimes very, very hard and very sad? When it's no balance.
I couldn't catch what it is.
I mean that the sudden feeling when one goes to the meditation, this doesn't also person so strong against the reality of life. Very hard and very sad. And there's no balance. So really this is the half an hour here and half an hour there. Doesn't balance the happiness against the unhappiness of life, as I say. Because the art study, I don't mean that if somebody is upset in an office and cannot come home to meditate. I mean the art study in life. And the meditation is not strong enough.
No. Maybe that the outside tragedies seem to be so great and this. For that, if the heat of the sun is very great, then once or twice diving in the morning doesn't keep the whole body cool throughout the day, then it will be advised to take dives 2-3 times a day. 2-3 times a day, diving deep and making the body cool, because the heat outside is very tremendous. You dive 2-3 times and come out. If this is the case, that the outside atmosphere is very bad and this, then a few minutes morning and evening may not suffice. Then little longer time in the morning, and then it's possibly the noon also, and then in the evening also, and in the night also. That's why the personal guidance necessary for checking what are the results. If you begin to feel happier after meditation, and that happiness doesn't continue for many hours, then if it continues for 2 hours, 3 hours, then meditation is doing its work, only that little more time, some more time. If not more time is available, then sustained practice of a few days will bring more and more results. Sustained practice for a few days will begin to strengthen the results more and more and more and more. Meditation will influence the atmosphere to be better. This is one thing. Another thing, it will bring in more capacity, more energy, more the right sense of meeting all these adverse circumstances. No. Attitude also and atmosphere also. That is the value of the mantras. No? When you dig a well, you have to dig, go on digging deep. When you get the first water, then the level of water begins to come up. Then the level of water begins to come up. There is no situation, nothing in the world which cannot be changed on the strength of meditation. It makes the thought force so powerful. Anything would be attained. It is the best form of prayer. It's the best form of prayer which directly communicates to the Godhood directly. The best form of prayer. Mantras are prayer. Mantras, prayer. Now prayer done in such a manner that the voice of the man is directly heard by the divine, not only heard, the man is taken to the field of the divine. That's the union. Our system of meditation is the best form of prayer, is the best form of prayer known to the world from times immemorial. There is no better form of prayer than this, ever known to any religion, any time. It is this simple technique of diving within, which was advocated by Christ 2000 years ago, when he said, "First ye seek the kingdom of God, and all else will be added unto thee." Here is the version. First ye seek the kingdom of God. Had there been no direct way to the kingdom of God, Jesus would not have said the word, "First ye seek the kingdom of God." And if that way of seeking the kingdom of God would not have been so straight that a man attains quit, then also he would not have attained all else will be added to thee. Because if the kingdom of God could not be contacted, then on what basis all else will be added? It's only on the basis of direct blessings of the divine that all else could be added unto thee. And then here is the process of direct communication to the Almighty. All else will have to be added to thee. Whether you desire or not, the thing will be there. This is a process million times much more stronger than the manners of positive thinking known to the West. Manners of positive thinking known to the West. This is a process which leads the mind completely out of the realm of thought, in the field of the Creator, where thought force is immense. On the basis of thought force, what not could be achieved. There is nothing which cannot be achieved. It's the most practical thing. It's the most practical thing, I say. Not a matter of theory and not a matter of belief in the scriptures, but a thing of everyday practice. Just have it and practice. The best form of prayer, nothing greater than this. This it was which was advocated by Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago. This was the text